Hoka hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of May the 5th, 2023, Cinco de Mayo, Fancast. What does the Alita Army want in an Alita sequel? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek or Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado. And with me is Lee. He is from Fountain, Colorado. How's it going, Lee?
A bit tired, but fine. How about you?
That's good. Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. No major complaints here. We continue to get good news, about the sequel. Now there's no green light yet, so I don't want to get anybody's hopes up too much at this point. But it's looking better and better and better. So we just keep our fingers crossed, and it's going to happen sooner or later. So that's a good thing there. So
yep.
And I guess I did it again. Should have done this right here. I do
Old
that every
habits, I
time almost. Yeah, I guess so. So what's going on down there in Fountain? Anything exciting?
Not really. Just small town, doing small town stuff. So, other than just waiting on some feedback on my story, just kind of doing what I do.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit pre-stream. You got you're working on chapter 25 now, right? You got
no, chapter 27.
Look at the 27. Okay, and
you got the last. I've got a old friend of mine who was doing beta reading for me before until his job and other things in his life got too busy for him to be able to do it. But he's got a little time now, I guess. So I was able to ask him if he'd be willing to go over the last 5 or 6 chapters I've done since he read it. See what give me some feedback on it. Hopefully he can give me something to straighten it out a bit, because I have a feeling the story's just not going well, and I guess maybe I'm too close to the problem and just not seeing what their problem might be, but I'm pretty sure there is one.
Yeah, are you experiencing some kind of writer's block or something like that?
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. I've actually got plenty of material to keep writing down. In fact, every so often, despite not really working on chapter 7 at the moment until I get a better idea of what this going on with the previous chapters, I still do a little bit of writing here and there, a few lines. It's mostly just because of how far the readership has dropped off in the numbers. I'm pretty convinced that either the story went way too slow and people just lost interest, or something else has happened and people just aren't bothering with it anymore. And I'm kind of like, well, if it's something I can fix, I'd like to know what the problem is so I can fix it.
Yeah, I apologize. I haven't had much of a chance this week.
I know you've been real busy.
Yeah, and it's but I know I've enjoyed. I've read 11 chapters now, I think, and it's I've really enjoyed it. I really love the interaction that you've got that you've started out with Alita and Jason DeShane. I think those two, just from what I'm gathering and what I've read so far, those two are going to be friends, and as a matter of fact, in my story, I'm going to kind of work Jason in, not as a character, because that's
you'd mentioned that, have
put too
him
many bounds on you.
Yeah, just have him make sort of a passing mention of him or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that bounty hunter guy is going to tell Alita that, Ito, Gerhard, and Jason are doing fine, or something like that.
Or Jason's, or the family sends their regards, or something like that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely am. But we've been kind of busy doing the. I guess everybody on the stream here probably knows by now that we formed a company called the Alita Army, and we haven't really gotten it off the. Well, we are a legal entity now, that's for sure. And we've had a couple of meetings, nothing to write home about. At this point, we're having another one on Monday, I guess. And and talk about some of the things. I know one of the things Blotty wants to do is he wants to get another hero arm thing going, and that's a really good cause. So we probably will hit that one pretty hard, I think.
Yeah, I was still wanting to. I've still been trying to consider how I would get in touch with Footless Joe, because I actually am on her Discord channel, but I'm really hesitant to do that just because I'm not sure how to approach her about the subject.
Yeah. Oh well, that's I think we've got like a dozen people already. We're eventually going to make it we are a legal entity at this point. We're gonna make it a full-blown LLC eventually, once we get things moving pretty good, but just for the folks out there, we're basically doing this because we want to have more credibility when we try to get, for instance, when we get guests on particularly the Radio Chaos stream. Sorry about that. But and if we come across as just a fandom, that's not going to be as I guess you would say effective, I guess, as getting people on streams or getting them to work with us or whatever, as opposed to having it as a real company. So that's where we are at this point, and it's still in a very formative stages at this point. It's right now, it's just a DBA at this point. So, but we got a Comic-Con coming up down in Colorado Springs in August, and we want to have a presence there. I tried to get a booth, but it was booked. I couldn't get one. So
yeah, I think you were saying they're usually booked out like over a year in advance or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And when we go down there, I guess we're gonna, I'm gonna talk to somebody to see what it's going to take to get a booth for next year. Because I suspect next year that this is the Creek's opinion, so everybody don't count your chickens before they hatch, as they say down south. But I suspect next year they might start shooting the Alita sequel, and that would be a perfect time to have a booth, at a Comic-Con. And of course, we're going to try to participate in more Comic-Cons, so, and do those kind of activities, So, what's really interesting about it is we've got some of the old Alita Army members that are interested now, they're wanting to participate, so, some of the originals, that kind of, I wouldn't say they haven't dropped off, but they've kind of, they're a little less active than they used to be, but now they want to really get back into it, so I think that was a big positive right there for that one, And I got one DM from one of them that says, "Are you going to let the original Alita Army admins be on the LLC board?" And I said, "Well, absolutely, for sure. I mean, they're the guys that kicked it off, so yeah, you betcha we're going to let them do it. So, and they'll be a voice, for sure. So,
okay.
And welcome to the stream, Chaos Nova from Mentor, Ohio. Hello, Chaos.
Hey, hello there.
How's it going?
Well, it's great. A lot of things aren't. I don't know. The repairs are done, so you don't have all the noise now, so it's much better.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't hear any humidifiers in the background.
So well, it's what happens when you get water damage,
Yeah.
Did
you have a storm or something, or?
No, it wasn't from the storm. We had storms, yeah. I mean, we've had rainstorms, but it was because we had that. So we had our cat. Our cat has a water fountain she drinks from, Dora. So, and her water fountain was muffling the sound that one of our middle child turned on the sink and forgot to turn it off, so it overflowed, and then it leaked down to the floor below, into the kitchen, into the hallway. So we had to use the humidifiers. Children, it happens.
Oh no! Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I know a little bit about that. Although all the kids
the joys of parenting, yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So how's things going other than that there, Chaos?
Well, I've heard a couple of channels put the hype up. Clownfish TV, they recommend they're not one of us. They have recommended the manga in the past, and they're doing it again because Clownfish TV asked Landau, and he said it's likely to happen because of Avatar 2's success. So they've been pushing on the hype train recently. Clownfish TV.
Yeah, I saw one of their episodes about that.
Yeah,
that was a pleasant surprise.
We were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that pre-stream, so that was that is a nice surprise right there. So it's just
the trick.
Things are happening, folks.
The trick is to do fan stuff before the announcement kicks in, the official announcement.
Yeah.
Because then that way you can catch the audience who are investigating it. So if anyone wants me to help provide stuff for a longer, detailed video about this topic, I mean, people do it for Warhammer 40,000 or other things.
Stuff about, that's right.
You can do things about Alita too, as well, and have it there. Make sure work on the keywords and how it's presented. So, but the most recent one I have is Excalibur, so I included that in the showcase. But I'm going to keep showcasing again weekly.
Yeah. Well, Finn, I didn't know you had left the Alita Army for a little while. I know I hadn't seen you in the chat very much lately, but glad to have you back. Anyway, we don't consider you have left the Alita Army; just got busy, I think. So anyway. Okay, Angelus. I'm not sure why Angelus is not on. I think he's probably, sometimes hard for him to get out of bed on Saturday morning.
Doesn't he usually run on Angelus time?
I think he does, yes. He works regular days now. That probably is a treat for him.
That's
Saturday morning. He wants to sleep in more than likely, So, so anyway, there you have it. Okay, so I guess let's talk a little bit about what we were talking about for sure. Is that the sequel petition? And by the way, the Kraken did put that URL down in the description down below, so anybody wants to sign it. I think we added like 14 or 15 this past week, something like that, which is a little low on the low side for us. We usually add about 25 to 30 every week, but still it keeps going up. We're approaching 178,000, which is more than Snyder Cut got. So that's a big positive right there. So everybody on this stream obviously has probably already signed the petition. But if you haven't, that includes the folks in the future, that are going to be watching the stream, I guess, after they get up, because it's midnight and 2 a.m. in various places around the earth. Let them, they see this. If you haven't signed the petition, please go sign that thing, and we'll just, the more signatures, the better for our girls, for her sequel. Also, another thing, I guess, is the Avatar Way of Water. I think it added like $2 million from the last week. So in about little over 4.5 months, it's well over $2.3 billion. So pretty good for a movie that a lot of naysayers say wasn't going to even make $1 billion. So, it's this is one of the reasons, we not getting our hopes up, but why a lot of folks are thinking that the Alita sequel is going to happen is because Avatar 2 is just gone, lights out in terms of making money. Yeah, in terms of making money for Disney, because that's what it's about. They got to make money, and Disney, I think, has been struggling lately financially, and Avatar has kind of kept their heads above water a little bit, I think. Now, Disney's huge. They're not going to go out of business.
But you still, movies have other effects that go downstream. I mean, a lot of
that's right.
A lot of what Disney sells is toys, okay? If people don't like your movie, often they don't want to buy your toys, all right? I obviously know Avatar has merchandise with it, and there's a ride at least rides associated with it, too. So there's effects.
Yeah. Well, I've heard also that Disney's been they kind of jacked up their prices to their theme parks too. That has got a lot of people upset. I guess the Disney World and Disneyland, they've kind of, the ticket price has gone up, and they didn't like that too much.
I mean, they've got to do what they've got to do. I don't
Exactly.
know their finances the way they do regarding their park operations.
Well, I know Charlie Smith sure follows it pretty close. He's he pretty much keeps tabs on that stuff, and I think he reported that their profits were way down this first quarter as opposed to the previous.
They had there were some disappointments. I mean, it gave me some vibes because they had 3 original films that weren't sequels or anything that were animated that didn't do so well, and they didn't quite advertise them either. So I don't know what happens.
Yeah. Well, also, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania did not do very well from what I've heard.
It was below what they expected, and it's the same as happening with the new Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not as much as expected, but I can still see break even and such.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're flops. I think I know I want to see Quantumania. I want to see that pretty good. And I definitely want to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 when it comes out. That's for sure. I want to see them both. But I think they need to expand a little bit. I think that they don't need to just stay with Marvel. They need to kind of and this is proof right here. Avatar is proof. That this thing went nuts. So in terms of making money, 3rd highest box office numbers ever. So and the number 1 box office draw was, of course, Avatar 1. So I mean, there's potential for other IPs, and of course, Our Girl, there's an IP that's just sitting there. All that potential is there, and they could really make money on it. I think if they really got into it, and just committed to it, I think they would. I think Alita would be a great IP, that would compete with the likes of Star Wars, Star Trek, and so forth. So anyway, that's just my opinion. Of course, I'm biased. I think that. I think certainly Alita is. I know it's my favorite movie. So I'm going to be biased. But they got so much source material that they can draw on, to make movies, to make series, to make anime. I mean, it just got tons of it, and it's just sitting there, and they're not using it, So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue Martian Memory in English and see how that goes. If they come up with a new update to that mod, that'd be great.
I did see. I saw. By the way, Chaos, I did see you playing. You had I guess it was yesterday. You had a premiere on where I watched you play. I couldn't watch the whole thing because I had something else to do. But I watched you play. The part where in the English version of it where Makaku actually injures Alita and stabs Ito, I guess, or Ito gets stabbed with a spike, and I watched a good bit of that,
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep adding individual scenes to the game too, because it's good to have those. Because there's parts that you don't play that are almost movie-like, except for the fact that it's 1998 graphics.
Yeah, but hey, it's still enjoyable. I mean, hey, folks, you're watching Alita, or in this case, Galley, which is Alita. So that's fine. So.
It's probably guys, me, but every time I hear the name Galley, I keep thinking of an oared ship.
Yeah,
like a galleon or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like the old galleys that the ancient times they used to have.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to report that her original name was Gary.
Right. That's how it translates.
Yeah, that's right.
But I did
my
play.
name is actually Gary.
I did play live on last Friday up to, and I finally finished Motorball and Josh again on the live stream part. So I'll catch up with it.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Okay, well, I guess we just make sure you watch this movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I mean, I'm telling you, the visual effects is good. That's going to knock your head off, and the story's good. I don't care what you read. Some of these people say the story for this is, average or something. Bull. They pay a lot of attention to family, and it's how in some science fiction movies where you see a species on a planet that's intelligent, but they all are the same. But they got diversity in this thing. I guess the Na'vi are not. They're not Na'vi. I don't know. I can't remember what they're called. But the
Na'vi.
But the indigenous. Yeah, well, Na'vi is the tree dwellers, I think, isn't it? I can't remember what the water.
No, they had I think it's the Omatakai tribe was the tribe that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Omatakai. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Na'vi is the actual race, and Omatakai is the one tribe they were dealing with the first movie, and then there's like a new water-based tribe that's coming that is in the second movie here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a little bit like a racial kind of diversity on that because, the Omatakai tribe and the water, the folks that live near the water, they're different. They're slightly different. So
yeah,
they're still Na'vi.
Yeah. The few clips I've seen on YouTube, it showed, even those showed quite a bit of difference and friction between the interactions of the two tribes because there are cultural differences.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Well, I guess we can move on to the main topic here, and that, of course, is what's going to be in the Alita sequel. And I am very confident now we're going to get that sequel. I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when they green light it. And of course, we've talked about some of this stuff in the past. Like for instance, in the sequel, she's probably going to have a different body. Now they can do anything they want in a movie. They can put her in a berserker body in the movie if they want. Finn, if you have not seen Avatar 2 yet, you got to go see it, man, or buy the Blu-ray. Do that too. You can do that. But in the manga, if you remember, she lost Hugo while she was in the berserker body, and it was kind of a mental thing for her, or an emotional thing. She did not want to be in the berserker body anymore because that's the body that she was in when Hugo died. So it's kind of one of those things that's kind of like an associative thing, where it's just too hard for her to be in the berserker body. Now that said, they can still, in the movie, they can put her in the berserker body. Now, if they do the Zapan arc, of course, Zapan's going to be in a berserker. And, he's, and that we'll get to that arc in a little while. But, they'd have to come up with two berserker bodies in that case, which I think would be awesome. You saw two berserkers fighting against each other, I think, But anyway, she could be in, like, we see their civilian body, the tuned body, and I know Maxie really, really likes the motorball body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. He says that's his favorite body, Maxie's, is the motorball body. So for sure, those three bodies might come into the sequel. Now, the tuned body itself, if it is in the sequel, it's going to be at the very end, because she doesn't get into the tuned body until she starts the Badlands arc. Otherwise, she'll be in the civilian body for the most part, or the motorball body. It would be so cool to see her in that civilian body in that portion of the arc where she's singing or playing a musical instrument in the Kansas bar. I mean, it'd be like that would be almost like a slice of life type thing, except, of course, now I've got slides coming up after this, so we won't spend too much time here on it. But it'd be kind of neat seeing her in the Kansas bar singing, and just being an entertainer, you know, or say just kind of being a single girl, you know. I mean, that would be kind of cool, I think, you know, where she's not always fighting somebody, you know.
Sort of how
Where
is
it's
she
just, you know,
getting on with
living.
her life kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that'd be pretty cool, I think, you know, to see how she would act in a normal situation. Now, I will say this, there's nothing normal about Iron City, that's for sure, you know. And we've had streams in the past where we thought, you know, hey, if any of us were to be transported to the 26th century and had to live in Iron City, we would have a tough time with it, I think.
Yep.
You know, I think some of us could adapt, you know, but I'll tell you, if you were in that situation, you'd have to be a pretty capable person, you know, to be if you were living in Iron City, because wimps are not going to survive in Iron City. You know, it's just not going to happen, you know. As opposed to one of them being transferred back to the 21st century, I think Alita could survive here very easily, and that's what we mean when I want to see her as a single girl, you know, in the Kansas bar, singing, playing the piano, or doing, or you know, just playing a musical instrument.
I was
there
just
in the
gonna,
Kansas bar too.
I was just kind of thinking,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not sure that would work out quite as well with the current story in the movie, because the divergence between the movie and the manga is, in the manga, she was just trying to live her life. She was just trying to get herself back into some kind of a life that she could live and enjoy. But in the movie, she's actually specifically on a mission to destroy an enemy. So there may not be a whole, I mean, there might be a little bit of that, but I have a feeling there may not be a whole lot of that. More of her basically honing her abilities so she can face down the leadership of Zalem and destroy them.
Yeah, I think you might see something like a little 10-minute, you know, this is Alita living her life, you know, and
oh yeah, there'd
maybe
still be, you know, at
but I
least a
think
little
you're
bit of
right.
something, maybe with her and her little family, maybe, you know, just trying to do their thing, as it were. And maybe she even gets involved in a few other things just to try to make things work a little more easily for her and the people she cares about. But for the most part, I'm not sure it would be quite as in-depth as it was in the manga, because the manga had a different sort of path she took to get to where she was working with Zalem, and also different motivations for what she was doing through Motorball and everything. With the movie, her motivation for Motorball is strictly get to Zalem, kill Nova.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen
Well,
for
get to
time in the
Zalem.
manga.
Well, and also, to be fair, in the manga, it's just like, you know, it's obviously over. Her whole war is over, so it's a different world than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
In this case,
that's right.
Nova's more of a pain in the butt, and he actually killed Hugo, so it's a little different in there.
Yeah. Well, that's
that's
like,
right.
But the motivations are, you know, diverged a bit.
Well, yeah, because destroying the destruction part was Destiny Nova's plan.
Well, I do think though she's also playing
manipulated both sides of a. Okay, I don't want to spoil too much, but he controlled both sides of a war, like Palpatine almost.
Yeah. Well, I do know she's playing Motorball too, to forget Hugo, or to deal with it or something.
Yeah,
not forget him. You know, she probably doesn't want to forget him, but she
well,
probably,
it was also to
it's a mechanism for her.
Yeah, it was part of the her method of trying to deal with the intense loss and heartache. I mean, as that one bit that Maxie read, I'm not sure if it was like last month or something like that in the manga. She and Ito got to talking that one evening after one of the games out in the scrapyard, and she basically said that she couldn't stand living with the pain. It felt like she was dying every day.
Yeah. Well, there's one point in the manga too where she was crying and, you know, wanted to see Ito, wanted to see Hugo, you know, this kind of stuff. She just wanted the sadness and the pain to stop, you know. and then she wrote it herself again. She always writes herself, doesn't she? She does.
Mm-hmm.
She's always bounces back every time, So yeah, but I think that motorball thing is a good escape for her, is what it is. Having lost you.
Yeah, in the manga, it was a good escape, a good way for her to deal with the pain, process it, and move through to a new stage of her life. In the movie, it's a method for her to face down an enemy that is threatening everything she cares about.
Yeah. Which is going to make the motorball arc real interesting when she competes against Joshigan, because she's going to want to get to Zalem, and so is Joshigan,
And I have a feeling it isn't going to, well, I was just going to say, it's not going to necessarily stop there. In the notes that Cameron had that were posted on that one site, and also like Gruishka mentions down in the underworld fight that they had, it's worlds above worlds. So there is something at the other end of the space elevator up there in orbit. And I have a feeling that's the next layer of the power structure that she'll have to take on after she gets to Zalem. Whether or not she gets there directly or not is, another matter. She may end up getting diverted to the Badlands, doing some stuff out there, and then finally getting up the space elevator.
Yeah. Well, not only that, there are worlds beyond Jeru. I mean, there's, the folks on Mars, folks on Jupiter, or the moons of Jupiter, and folks that are in the floating cities above Venus.
Again, that's in the manga. In the movie, there was an interplanetary war, so a lot of those colonies may have ended up being annihilated. That's one of the things I was mentioning in some of the previous streams is there may not be any survivors left on Mars, or if there are, there may only be a small enclave of survivors, just like humans on Earth. There's, basically Iron City, and that's it.
Yeah, they'd basically be in the same shape Earth is, wouldn't they?
And if you've got a space colony of some sort, like an artificially constructed colony of some sort, like one of those O'Neill colonies, not sure if you're familiar with what those are, but basically, it's an artificially constructed like cylinder with everybody inside, and it sort of rotates slowly to create
to create gravity.
Yeah,
that's
not that they would need it in this world. They actually have artificial gravity, from what I understand. But basically, if you have any type of artificial habitat, those tend to be, at least from what I've seen in a lot of other science fiction stories, the most vulnerable to enemy weapons fire. Because any kind of attack that destroys any part of the life support system, you just lost your ecosystem that's keeping you alive.
Yeah, unless they got some kind of shielding that protects them. But
apparently the only thing that had shielding that survived the war was Zalem. Everything else seemed to have gotten basically wiped out, at least from what little bit we've been able to gather. So
it'd be nice to see in the sequel also a little bit of a, how'd you say, a backstory per se. For instance,
a little more history of the world sort of thing.
Well, kind of an explanation of how they are where they are now, or why they are where they are now. For instance,
a little bit of world building.
There were actually, basically, because there were like 12 of those cities, and Zalem's the only one that's remaining.
That may actually end up getting revealed when she gets to Zalem and she confronts, whoever's up there. It may not necessarily just be Nova, maybe some other people, but when she gets up there, it may actually get some history lessons in, what happened prior to the war.
What if he comes down?
What if what's at the other end of the space elevator comes down? Or what
if Destiny Nova is a surprise gotcha where he's here?
Oh. Well, possibly. I mean, he did make it pretty clear he was up in Zalem during the movie, but it could be some kind of... It may end up actually being like Maxi's story, maybe. Maybe there's some sort of clone he's got running around down here that he can actually directly control.
Yeah. Well, of course, another thing we're going to talk about is the Zapan arc, too. That's another thing that's going to be interesting. Because I think if they were to do a 3-hour sequel, they could do the Zapan arc and the Motorball arc in one movie. Now they would have to have a 3-hour movie is what they would have to have,
or even a
because
director's cut that's 4 hours long.
Yeah. Oh, I could live with that. Absolutely. Yeah, I could, but yeah, I think that, they certainly, because, one of the things that sets Japan off is seeing Alita on the big screen, and he sees her competing, and it just drives him nuts. He just goes nutso. He kills Sarah. And he didn't mean to do it, but he did.
He also kills one of Sarah's workers. A young man that was helping out with the soup kitchen.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, he just goes definitely off the rails is what he does, So, but you could see the motorball arc first, happening, and Alita's competing against Josh Gon, and how they handle that, whether Josh Gon beats Alita.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right, because Japan's going to go nuts. But whether Alita beats Josh Gon or Josh Gon beats her or whatever happens, Japan sees Alita, and that's what sets him off, So, and I think another thing that sets him off is that, when he kills Sarah, I guess, he blames Alita for that, because if I hadn't have seen you, I wouldn't have killed her, or something like that, I think was his thought, So, he's in his mind, he's going to have an axe to grind, and that would be something that would happen after the motorball arc, and then, of course, after that would be the beginning of the Badlands arc, I think. So what do you guys think about that before we get into each of the individual arcs?
Well, I'm afraid I was.
Or is that?
Well, I was just going to say, I was afraid I was a little distracted. I was looking at Just a Fan's comment there. I was kind of thinking about it. And...
Oh, yeah, this one right here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Just a Fan.
Actually, Nova wouldn't actually have to go back and forth between the surface. He's got agents on the surface, like large numbers of them that he can take direct control about. He doesn't even need to
still be there.
Yeah, that's right.
He can still be there in person if he wants to.
He can, but he has no reason to.
You can. Yeah.
But I don't know. What is Vector dead? I'm just saying, wouldn't Destino have to come to revive him?
That's assuming he would even care to. From what I understand, Vector's usefulness in the story, as far as Cameron's version, his usefulness came to an end. There's no reason for him to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, what did he say? Vector was getting a bit tiresome.
Yeah. Vector was getting tiresome anyway. Something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
But he might just want to do the job himself.
Or he might look at Vector as a disposable resource that got disposed of and just, put another agent in place. I mean, it's a trivial matter for him to do that. Apparently, he can get that telepresence system into anybody in the city.
Anyone, or did he? Because when Vector was looking at Grishka, it turns out Grishka had a transmitter implanted.
Yeah, he had a telepresence circuit in his system, and that's the thing. Vector did mention that there are watchers behind the eyes all over the city. It's pretty common these days.
Yeah. What I think is that probably it's going to be like at the end of the Avengers: Age of Ultron, where Thanos says, "I guess I'll just have to do it myself," as he puts the Infinity Gauntlet on.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of that would be kind of cool to see him come down to Zalem, because the way it is, Alita is going to try to go up to Zalem, but that could kind of delay that. In other words, we get a third movie. So that's kind of
that's the thing. Even if she does get up to Zalem and takes care of Nova, there could be that there is another. Like I said, there could be another layer of power structure in Jeru at the other end of the space elevator. I mean, there's a whole
orbital body.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole orbital space up there with everything that could be taking place up there beyond the orbit. I mean, it could be that the colonies that were out there not all of them did get destroyed.
Yeah.
There could be a lunar
Yeah.
colony that actually survived the war. There could be even some kind of a stalemate going on. It could be that maybe Mars didn't get nearly as devastated as we think, and the only reason they haven't come back is because there is actually an armistice in place of some sort, and the current power structure is still sort of locked in a stalemate, that it'll take Alita doing something up there to break that stalemate and sort of, free humanity from the influence of all these, powers that be that have gotten themselves into positions.
Well, that was
to control
the whole
everything.
idea about the Zot tournament, is that they kill each other in the arena rather than have an actual full war.
Oh, exactly. There could be, a whole thing
Mhm.
like that going on, if not directly taken from the manga. So there's
Of course,
all
the
kinds
Zot's
of
gonna-
layers up beyond that you could have, 5, 6 more movies.
Yeah, that's right. The Zot is going to be in Alita 6, which is what the Creek wants.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, but before we move on to some of these individual little threads here, I think look at all of the potential they have for storytelling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's unfreaking believable. I mean, just us sitting here for the past 20 minutes, we've come up with all these different directions they can go. So
I think the question, I don't know, but it's hard to say it without spoiling a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, is Destiny Nova still the son of Arthur Farrell or no?
Well, that is something we won't find out until much later in movies.
Yeah.
When they get the
maybe Alita 5 will find that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rose will be 75 years old by then, probably. So, and the Creek will be 120, maybe. So anyway, but yeah, they've got a lot of potential here that they can explore, and take.
Oh yeah, there's tons of material they could draw off of and do stuff with.
One of the things that, before we kind of move on to the different bodies, which is the next one, one of the things I always thought they could do, if they were going to do a sequel and they were unsure or something like that first bullet under Motorball playing in the second league, they could have a 1-season series on that of her playing in the second league.
Mm-hmm.
And then because when she comes out on the platform and raises Damascus blade up at Nova, as if say, "I'm coming for you, big boy," like that. Between Hugo dying and that point, there's several months in there, in that time frame. How did she get to that point? Because at that point where she's raising that Damascus blade, she is the second league champion at this point. So she's not just the Alita that tried out for Motorball. She's a champion at this point. So, there's a lot more to her on that platform than there was with her when she tried out, in Murder Ball,
And that's the other thing too. Is there the possibility that she decided that because her presence was in fact, or because she's basically a target of Nova, that maybe she decided her presence was enough of a threat to the people she cared about that maybe she separates herself from all of her friends and family, trying to protect them.
Yes.
She puts this distance between them, and maybe, a whole bunch of other stuff that could end up happening and shaping her into a whole new direction or something.
Yeah, I like just a fan's comment here. If Sigourney Weaver can play a 14-year-old, so can Rosa.
Oh yeah, Rosa was even saying it's because it's a CGI mask that she puts on, or that they put on over her. She said, "I could be 90 and still be playing this."
Yeah, that's right. She wants to play it too, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sigourney Weaver did a great job. That her character, Kiri, it was my favorite character in Avatar 2. I mean, she's really cool, Yeah, I think you're right, Just Fan. That's kind of one of the things we were talking about, that playing in the second league. That way they could bring all the people that would watch this on, say, Disney Plus. They might have to tone it back a little bit, I don't know if, Disney Plus I don't. Do they have PG-13 on Disney Plus? I don't know because I don't see.
Yeah,
Disney
they
Plus
do.
that
I mean, they
much.
have the Marvel films on it. I haven't.
Yeah, that's right. They do.
Subscribed for a long time though, so I don't know about like all the subsidiaries and lists that they have on it.
Yeah, but they can have her winning the second league championship, in a TV series, and that would establish her as a real, how would you say, equal combatant to Joshigan, as opposed to her when she just tried out for the second league,
Well,
because
considering how
she would
easily
have to go-
she steamrolled a lot of the competition in the manga, it probably wouldn't have to be more than 5 or 6 episodes of her doing that, because not many of them are going to provide any kind of real fight for her. She's just going to go through, and it's going to be like the tryout match where they were trying to actually assassinate her. She just goes through and just carves her way through the entire roster of second leaguers getting to the championship.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that would establish her as a bona fide good motorball player,
An able contender towards Joshigan.
Yes. And they can hype Joshigan, by having him win a couple of matches or something while she's going through the second league.
How about Joshua playing with one arm like he did sometimes?
Oh, yes. Yeah, playing with one arm and still beating the crap out of everybody. Yes.
Yeah, because Joshigan felt it was too easy, so he took he detached his left arm and he only played with his right for a lot of games.
And it wasn't even a close match. He's playing with one arm. Okay. Anyway, this is kind of the highest level here, I guess. Anything else on this, I guess, because we're going to talk about each one of these arcs individually, I think. So, okay, well, let's go to the different bodies. This is kind of what I saw that maybe she could be in. Now, you see Berserker there. If they follow the manga, then, she's not, she doesn't want to be in the Berserker body after losing Hugo, But, she might decide, she might tell Ego, hey, Ito, you got to put me in the Berserker body or else Zapan's going to destroy the city, And Zapan would be in a different Berserker body. Maybe Nova gives him another Berserker body or something like this, as opposed to having it stolen, or rather, who was it? Was it Ed that sold it, or who was it?
Ed sold it at the beginning of the motorball thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It was missing for a long time, and since she started wondering, okay, well, where'd it go? So I'm in my live stream part, I'm going to be getting to that part where it's like, there's a Berserker body, and well, actually in the game, Ito asks you like, where'd the Berserker body go? Because Ito in the game obviously realizes, it's a very dangerous thing. Like, Alita, what did you do with it? Where is it?
Yeah. Yes. But I could see in the movie, if they really wanted to make it suspenseful and very contentious and things like that, where they have two Berserker bodies. Zapan's in one and she's in the other.
Maybe she's not using it on the track.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, she wouldn't use the Berserker body on the track. She'd be using the motorball body because it's more optimal, to compete, But what I'm saying is, she has difficulty wearing the Berserker body because I lost Hugo, and I just feel too sad and stuff like that, and I can't deal with it. But then she sees Zapan tearing up the city, and she has to make a decision. If I don't get in the Berserker body, he's going to lay waste to the entire city and kill a bunch of people, So she makes the decision to go in the Berserker body to face Zapan, So I can see them doing something like that in the movie,
right? But Destiny Nova did give her the gun with bullets, so I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. They could do that too. You know, she'd be in the civilian body and get that gun with the collapsor rounds in it. You know, and then
all I'm
shoot
saying
the
is
pan with it. You know,
it's a Chekhov's gun thing because they did mention in the film that firearms are illegal in the scrapyard. So, I mean, it would kind of be a letdown not to pay off with that part.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think that wasn't really a Chekhov's gun so much. It was an explanation for why there aren't any guns in the Iron City except for those held by those in power.
Right, but just even in the film, it doesn't exactly go by the rules.
No, but in the movie, Destinova makes the rules.
Right, but I still see him as prideful enough that he'd be like, you need my help. Let me give it to you. For very cruel humor.
Well, and if Japan has already destroyed most of the city, Zolom's going to be freaking out because that's where their factories are, and they're not going to be getting their supplies if Japan wipes out the whole city. So, okay, we're going to turn and look the other way while she gets this gun with these collapsor rounds in it, you know, and we won't. We'll pretend like we didn't see it. I could see them doing something like that too, you know. And it could be a scene where, if she's in a civilian body, where, you know, Japan, you know, does basically to her what Gruishka does, cuts her up, and she's, you know, basically a half a person with one arm again, or something like that. And she has this pistol with these collapsor rounds, and she shoots him, you know, just before he tries to kill her or something like that. And make it really suspenseful, you know, like you don't know if he's going to kill her or she's going to kill him type thing, you know. So, you know, I can see them doing something like that. You know, have the audience sitting on the edge of their seat in that fight, you know. And then, of course, toward the end of the movie, she would get the tuned body. Then head off to the Badlands, maybe. You know, after she does away with Japan, you know. And I know Ed Skrein wants to play Japan too. He liked playing Japan. So
yeah, he made a good Japan.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I still see Destinova as manipulative enough that he'd want to set up something where someone else needs his help.
He seems to like watching people die, though.
I'm just saying he would like to see people in a death match. He still would.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
But he's also been trying to destroy Alita because she's a threat to his power.
But it would still be it would be a kind of poetic justice to him because he'd set up a situation where she has to go ask for help, and then he's just like, I'm not protecting you from the enforcement who's gonna get you anyway for using the gun.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Let's welcome Blotty from the UK. How's it going there,
Hey,
Blotty?
guys.
Hey, Blotty.
Hello.
How's it going, all?
Not bad.
How's everything over there in
Pretty good.
England?
Yes, just a fan.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about because it's what just a fan. It's what he did in the manga. He essentially did stuff and held carrots to both sides, both the Barjek and Zolom.
Well, he likes to see the competition, doesn't he, Nova? He likes to see what people will do in certain situations.
Yeah.
And he kind of screws with them. He screws with them to see what they'll do next and stuff like that. I mean, he's very insidious like that, I think.
Yeah, I can't see him sneaking away from Zolom to do anything because basically he is God. He runs the show.
But he also doesn't just die that easily, though.
No, because he's got agents he works through as well. I mean, why would he need to sneak away when he can just do what he wants and nobody can say a damn thing about it?
I don't think he dies that easily when he's over 300 years old. I think.
Yeah.
Well, he might also be over 300 years old because he hasn't put himself in danger either. He's got agents.
Are you sure? I think he would survive getting stabbed in that version just as much as any other version.
Well, stabbed, yeah.
Well, Alita actually kills him, doesn't she?
I guess you could say that because that brain chip that was on in his head is gone, but he had the other one in his gut.
Yeah, he had a bunch of backups and stuff like that in the manga, but in the movie, he has no need to put himself in any kind of danger. He's got the ability to take over other people's body and put them in danger.
Actually, Finn, Motorball was inspired by Rollerball, and I did that whole thing about Alita saluting James Caan from the film Rollerball, which was, in turn, it was inspired by roller derby. People smacking into each other on roller skates.
Yeah, we did a stream on that on Radio Chaos here last year. That was a fun stream. I don't know if I would stop short that he's a god. Maybe a god with kind of like Ego says in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, a god with a little g.
Well, that's what I was saying. Basically, he is
yeah.
the ruling power over both Zalem and the and Iron City below. So he will do whatever he wills, and no one can say anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, he thinks himself, and he doesn't feel the rules apply to him. It doesn't matter what kind of Destiny Nova you're talking about. He feels the same way.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. In the movie version, it's true. He is the ruling power. Nobody says anything against him. He runs Zalem.
We've got to see Edward Norton hamming that up.
Yeah, I mean, he rules Zalem. We are. And by extension, he rules Iron City. Everybody in those two cities are his playthings, and he will do whatever he wants with them. And for 300 years, he's been doing whatever he wants with them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when Alita gets up to Zalem and then, of course, finds out there's another layer above that. There's another city up there that has, in the manga, of course, is Aga Embody. And he's over Nova. So, that's going to be real interesting.
Oh, an interesting twist. What if the Destiny Nova in Zalem is the clone Nova, and there's another Nova in an even higher position of power in Jeru?
You mean like Supernova?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Could be.
Guys, I'm going to have to actually shoot off in a sec. So the main things I want to see is just Japan versus Alita round 2. Obviously, more Nova shenanigans and more Motorball for sure. And I know Alita's going to be I think she'll start off quite emo in this, but I do want to see her I want to see her smile again in this sequel sometime. We do love her smile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she didn't have a lot to smile about it. Okay, there, Bloody.
Sorry, it was such a short. Sorry, it was such a short trip.
No, take care.
Oh, no problem, man. You're welcome anytime, Bloody.
See you on tomorrow's stream.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, what happened? Did you lose him?
No, he had
to go. It's real late there, so I think he probably has to go to work tomorrow or something.
It happens.
So yeah, it does. Yeah, it would be interesting to see Alita. Well, it would be like Bloody was saying, toward the end of the movie, after I guess Japan stabs Hugo and she loses Hugo. She doesn't have a lot to smile about. Would be nice to see her smile in the sequel at some point,
Yeah, Finn. I like to call him Steroid Shredder because he was just mostly just really big in the TMNT, the Super Shredder from the second film. But Destiny Nova, I can still see him coming in some way. I mean, he's also pretty arrogant too. I mean.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he is arrogant, but he's also not stupid. He's extremely brilliant.
No, he's not. Oh, he's a genius. I mean,
yeah, everything that I've seen in the first movie indicates that he's very much a behind-the-scenes sort of puppeteer. He forces other people to do his bidding, usually by directly controlling them and then using their body as sort of like a set of tools for him to do what he needs done.
I could see him wanting to rub it in someone's face. I mean, the big question here is if he's always been there, then how is he a father? I mean,
that's actually a question I was actually going to propose. What if Chaos in the movie isn't his son?
is. I think he has. I mean, I think he has ways of getting around the rules.
It could be. I mean, it could be he had a son on Zalem, but because of his son's defects and maybe wanting to see how he would survive, he went ahead and exiled his own son from Zalem.
But did he augment?
I don't know about Uncle Chris.
I was thinking like maybe he did a Weapon X type thing where he sent him as a first agent of some kind.
It's possible.
Very, you know, I mean, with the whole Marvel character Wolverine, he was, and they augmented Wolverine and made him as a type of agent to do what they want.
Yep.
Take care of their enemies.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Wolverine, it was kind of you know, I guess in the comic books, Wolverine doesn't always have an adamantium body, skeleton.
It's normal that he does. So
yeah, he's.
And I was thinking a lot of
Deadpool.
Yeah, but I was thinking along the lines of Destiny Nova as not the comic book version of William Stryker, but the film version of Dr. William Stryker.
Yeah, yeah.
He uses his kid as a type of agent or assassin because he just sees the kid's a mutant and he feels that his abilities are useful for his own purposes.
To your point, Lee, I think one way that, you know, Chaos could be Nova's son without Nova leaving Zalem is that one of Nova's clones fathers him. You know, that could be the way that works.
That's the other thing too.
Or he exiled the mother. I don't know.
Or I was saying, it could be he actually had a son on Zalem. The son turned out to be defective in some way, but instead of having him destroyed, he did like what he did to the Ito family. Had him exiled and maybe is in a tangential way keeping an eye on him to see how his son survives and turns out on the surface. Curious to see how he'll develop.
But that's the thing. I don't think Destiny Nova would see him as defective entirely because there's obviously some kind of implied regeneration that Chaos has, given how Destiny Nova augmented him comparable to how Wolverine is augmented, where his bones and nerves are all. I mean, in adding metal to your bones would kill you in a normal case.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
This isn't like Cybernetic. This is like Wolverine where they're pumping hot metal into Chaos and making it.
Well, that was one of the things about that's one of the things about Wolverine, though. Chaos is, I think, one of the reasons he was selected for that was his fantastic regenerative properties. Because if you remember Sabretooth, which was Victor in that one movie, he is similar to Wolverine. Yeah, but he didn't quite have as good a regenerative power as Wolverine did, which is why they selected Wolverine over Sabretooth, you know. So I think Wolverine originally was probably more like Deadpool. You know, I mean, Deadpool's got extreme regenerative powers. I mean, anybody can be cut in half or pulled in half and still heal. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. As a matter of fact, that one scene, you know, where Cable comes in here and Deadpool's got those little baby legs, that was disturbing.
That's because, it wasn't Cable, it was Juggernaut that did that to him. That was Deadpool too.
Well, yeah, Juggernaut pulled him apart, but I was talking about when Cable came in to ask for Deadpool's help, you know, and he was sitting on that couch next to the blind lady, you know, and he had the little baby legs. that was disturbing. You know, it was also quite funny too.
Yes. Kind of.
But anyway, well, not just kind of disturbing. It was extremely disturbing.
It was.
So anyway, well, you know, I guess Alita would either fight Zapan in either Berserker or the civilian body, depending on how they wanted to write the script, and do that, and they'd probably deviate some from the manga because they did in the movie, The motorball body, I think that's Maxie's body. I think that's the body she's going to have to be at the beginning of the sequel, because the motorball arc, in my opinion, has got to be before the Zerkerpan arc. So she's probably going to be maybe in the civilian body for a little bit at the beginning of the sequel, because she's going to be in the Kansas bar singing and stuff like that. But it's like Lee says, it's going to be 10 minutes tops. And then she's going to be in that motorball body, and that's the body she's going to have, for a while, until, she fights Zapan and then gets into the tuned body eventually before she hits the Badlands, so.
That's the other thing that's kind of got me wondering. It's like she wants to get up to Zalem, but Zalem is under the control of Nova. And if he doesn't want her getting up there, she's not getting up there. So how exactly is she going to go through getting up there? Why would he allow her up?
I think he could if he wanted her to go hunting for a fugitive.
That could be another layer of requirement he adds onto it, as a service in the Toon program.
I did my whole Fallen Angel fan trailer thing with the whole idea that, it's based on the manga, but, it may have been that similar to how Wolverine broke out of the facility, his kid got out of Zalem, and he's like, get him.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were Nova in charge of Zalem, and I had somebody like Alita trying to come up to kill me, and then she wins the championship and wants to come up, I'd just tell her to kick rocks. It's like, you're not getting up here. This is my city. You can't have it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Well,
I wouldn't be on. I don't think he's beyond playing games of some kind where he's like, well, maybe the person will win, like Two-Face, where it's like maybe they'll win, maybe they won't. I don't care. It's fun to watch her demise either way. And I can see the film version also making the clones of Alita and being like, okay, go kill her when she's done catching Weapon X or something.
Yeah. And also, Lee, don't underestimate our girl, Lee. Don't underestimate.
Well, that's why I was saying, I wonder how they would get her up there. I mean, even if he does do that and, basically says, I'm not letting you up, I'm kind of wondering, okay, when that happens, how will she get up there? Because, I mean, I have no doubt she will, but how would they go about doing it?
I could just see it as being either Destiny Nova or someone that, sets up the situation where Alita has to essentially get killed. He gives her the gun. She gets, essentially destroyed. And Destiny Nova says, well, we've got this fugitive, I don't know, Agent K, Weapon X, whatever, and you have to go get him now. And maybe I'll let you go.
Agent K. Agent K, yes. Finn's got a good question there to answer for us. So I guess in the movie, Finn, I think we don't have enough information off the movie, but you kind of get the impression that Nova is sort of the leader, or if you want to call it the president of Zalem. You kind of get that feel a little bit, although we don't have enough information. But in the manga, he is not.
Yeah, in the novel, he was actually exiled from Tefaris.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's nowhere near it.
So he's
in the movie, though. Yeah, he basically runs the city.
In the film, though, he seemed to be kind of like a Kaiser Soze, where people don't generally know he exists. I mean, Kaiser Soze from The Usual Suspect is like a name.
I got more got the impression he just doesn't directly exert his control, and the people in Zalem try to ignore the fact that they're ruled over by a madman.
Yes.
Perhaps.
I mean, Ito certainly knew about him.
Well, he said,
of course, we know
it may have been him that exiled. I don't know.
No, he said it was Nova that exiled me and my family because I gave birth to something that was defective. Because his daughter had a genetic flaw, he was.
She wasn't born, though.
Yeah, she was born.
Grown.
No, she was born, according to what I read in the novel and everything.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, there's divergences between the movie verse and the manga.
They say Justin Nova was born when he was grown in the fetus field.
In the manga?
Yeah, but it's in the timelines and other things say he's born. I guess I guess you are technically born from the field, though. They take you out of the pod.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's divergence between the two stories. They seem to have Cameron seems to have altered the tech. I mean, for instance, there's no brain chips in Zalem in the movieverse.
Oh, so it could we don't know yet.
Well, Sharon certainly.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, I mean, Sharon certainly had hers still, and when his daughter died, I'm pretty sure it was fairly evident that if he did any kind of preparations for her burial or whatever,
she'd be too young to have ever been swapped.
No, that's true. Yeah,
she would have been. She was only 13 years old. They don't swap them until they're 19. And clones such as Carol, she wasn't because she was a clone. She wasn't an actual.
Oh, Carol was actually a clone that was created on the surface too,
right?
By that other Tefarian who was exiled, just like Ida was, and he was providing some sort of like cloned body service to the really wealthy of the scrapyard, so they could remain perpetually young.
Right. But I'm just saying,
well, I think
that error could be easily changed just because, because of things. I don't want to get into.
Well, these are basically the four bodies, I guess, that we'd see in the sequel. What the Imaginos body is something we would not see until way later. If they do more movies, probably would be the fourth movie or something like that, where we would see her in the Imaginos body, or possibly at the end of the third movie, because she'd have to go through the baby bomb thing and all that kind of stuff, and become an android eventually. So I don't see that her being in the Imaginos body. Is there any other bodies y'all can think of? Like, what about the human body? The only way I'd see her in the human body in the sequel is if there was some kind of like little
a dream,
but
a dream,
yeah.
Because in a dream, like in the room before she's sent out for tune, she thinks she has this perception that she's a regular person, but that's just that's just a kind of dream sequence, though.
Yeah, that's right. And when she comes out of that room, I guess she wakes up and she's in the tuned body, isn't she?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting, I think, to see her progression from one body to the next. I'd like to see her in the Berserker body, in the sequel, but we may not see her in the Berserker body. We might see her only in the civilian, and then maybe the motorball body, perhaps.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it's basically going to come down to we're going to have to wait for the sequel and see what Cameron's got in store for her.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully we get that sequel soon.
That's right. That's right.
So hop to Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney. We want that sequel, damn it. So, okay. Well, let's see. What has Finn got going here? He had stolen power in Zalem.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he was always in charge in some fashion, because I got the impression when Gelda, was it Gelda? I think I may be getting the name wrong.
Yeah.
Gelda, when she was in the zero-G training chamber with Alita in the movie and showed the hologram of him, she was basically, it seemed like he's the reason for the war. I mean, the war started because of him. And actually, it could be because he did some kind of coup and overthrew the leadership of Earth and became sort of the ruling power of the Earth forces. And for whatever reason, instigated a war against Mars.
You mean like tried to kill his own father, Arthur?
It could be that, or maybe he decided the best way for humanity to survive is going to be with him in charge. Or maybe he just wanted to be in charge. Maybe he decided he didn't have enough toys in his life and he needed several billion more. I mean, who knows what the motivations would be? Hopefully, the sequels will outline that and give us some answers to all these burning questions.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said sequels.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so 6 movies down the line, we finally see the end of the story, and then Alita comes into her her human body and maybe has a happily ever after or something.
Yeah, that'd be it. The very end, the Alita 6.
Yeah, or 7.
Four,
Whatever.
maybe. Yeah.
I'm not greedy. I just want a couple of different trilogies.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the Creek is greedy. He wants as many movies as he can get. So,
remember, you can make some things. So I've been looking, and I wouldn't ask any of you guys to like sample your voice to make an AI voice or anything, but I've been looking for people to collaborate on making a fan film. I'll send a draft to Maxie, but
I'm not really sure I've got a good voice for that myself. I hate the way my voice sounds.
My voice sounds kind of southern the way the AI does it. It's kind of weird.
I'll collaborate with you, Chaos.
All right, I'll talk to you about it. It's 11 Labs AI.
Yeah.
You'd have to send me
I use 11 Labs. Yeah. Yeah, I use 11 Labs AI. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Is that the one you're using for your short story?
Yeah.
That's
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And Swiss people say Gesundheit, or Gesundheit. It's Swiss German and I guess regular High German or regular German or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a little bit different, There's, by the way, Finn, I don't know if you've ever seen this person on YouTube. It's one of my favorite. Her name is Felicia, Feely from Germany, and she does a lot of videos about German language and Texas German and Dutch and Pennsylvania German and 10 things you should not do when you're in Germany and stuff like that. You should not say. It's really, really nice. I really like her. I like her YouTube channel a whole lot. I like her videos, so and she did the thing on
German
Swiss
humor,
German.
there's no laughing matter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, bad joke.
And she did a video on Swiss German, and she understood about she would have somebody speaking Swiss German. She understood about 3/4 of it, and she's a German, so it's kind of funny, but it was kind of neat, Okay, anyway, back to the
real quick here. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So anyway, this is to Lee's point right here. Yeah, we do want to see Alita sing in the Kansas bar, but I don't see this being a protracted segment in the movie. I mean, they may do 5 to 10 minutes, of something like this at the very beginning of the movie. Something just her being a single girl singing in the Kansas bar, playing piano or whatever she wants to play, and just entertaining the folks that are in the Kansas bar. But I think eventually, it's going to be a very short-lived type thing, and she's going to, get into that motorball body for one thing and start playing motorball, and she's certainly still a hunter warrior too. So she might even be doing some bounty hunting even in her civilian body, because even though her civilian body is not as powerful as that berserker body, it's still going to be way more than a match for a human, because it's going to be a lot stronger and stuff like that. But this is not a body I'm going to see that I see her being in for a very long time in the sequel, because it's not going to fit with what her trying to get to Zolom and everything. I don't think. What do you think, Chaos?
Okay.
I think Chaos stepped away as well. Yeah. What I was just saying, Lee, is I don't see Alita being in this body for very long in the sequel. She might be in it for 5 minutes, maybe at the beginning of the sequel. Maybe there'll be a little scene at the beginning of her playing the piano and in the Kansas bar and stuff like that. And she's in the civilian body, and or she may even be in the motorball body. I don't know, but not lasting very long because it doesn't fit in the general scheme of things of her getting to Zalem,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's probably going to be a good bit of divergence there simply because with the movie, they cut out a lot of that other stuff, and Cameron just sort of made it a direct link between her and Zalem. It's like she has an enemy up there, a very clear danger. She wants to get to it and destroy it.
Yeah,
with
that's right.
the manga, Kashiro had, a very long story and a lot of development he wanted her to go through. So he stretched it out quite a bit more to tell a very something of a different story, basically. I mean, as he said, it's like they did make changes to the movie, but they kept the spirit of the story very much intact.
Yeah, they did. They were pretty. They were pretty faithful to the overall.
Well, if Kashiro himself, when he was unhappy with the anime, if he was actually happy with the movie, I think that says a good. That says a lot of good about how well they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't see her being in it very long. Here's one thing I would like to see is I'd like to see her and Screwhead
team up,
do a duet in the Kansas bar.
Yeah, there'd have to be some sort of making nice between the two of them first, and that might
they would a
little bit of work there. So maybe there might be some kind of little thing outside of Motorball where they have a sort of the two having to be being forced in some fashion to work together to take on.
Well, that's something they could do in a series,
there's all kinds of things they could add all kind. I mean, they could do all of the stuff that's sort of like the everyday stuff, like you were wanting to do the slice of life type things in between some of the Motorball matches. Like they have her do the Motorball second league matches that get her to the championships, interspersed with her just sort of living her life as she would have to, because she's not going to be playing Motorball constantly
all the time.
Really. She's got other things she's going to have to do, and maybe have her go through and do all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be things that's directly tying into the movie. So basically you wouldn't be hopefully forcing people to watch the series to get the next movie. The next movie would be based more off of directly linked to the first movie, and then have the series be a nice extra bonus.
Yeah. Well, I think too, in the case of Screwhead and her making up, they could have a quick little, quick scene, because it'd be a little bit of a complex thing where she and Screwhead kind of make up, a little bit, because it's kind of like Gail was saying in the interview, that Screwhead, is kind of pissed off about everything that's happened, and she's been, she's been done dirty or grifted or whatever, and
maybe she finally gets fed up with the where she's at. Actually, I kind of see that being something like what happened with Ventress in was it Ventress in the Clone Wars animated series. There was a dark side adept who was the apprentice of Count Dooku. I think her name was Ventress. And she ended up finally losing her. She lost Count Dooku, had a falling out. Oh no, she had a falling out with Count Dooku. Ended up losing all of the life that she had, going off on her own and trying to pick herself up and find her own path through life, basically. And it could be maybe Screwhead follows the same sort of thing, where things as they were after going up against Alita, things fall apart for her, and she starts trying to figure out, well, what the hell am I going to do now? And starts, reevaluating things, as it were.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see
end
that.
up becoming I hope she doesn't end up becoming the slang term for a screwhead, where she's a barjack.
Oh, one of the socket soldiers.
The screwheads was the slang for the socket soldiers, and they've got because they screw the heads in.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, okay,
Well,
that's a different way.
well, that's what Elle said in the interview. Is one of the ideas about her is they could just take her head and put it on a different body, you know, which is the socket soldier, you know.
Oh, that's
so,
what they did anyway in the movie. I mean, she was in a 4-armed motorball body, which was not her street body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they obviously have the ability to change out the cyber cores.
I'm just saying, though, the socket soldiers usually don't make it because not even your head survives that thing.
Yeah.
What disturbed me most about
that wouldn't be a very.
I was just going to say, what disturbed me most about the socket soldiers was the way they store them. They keep their heads and the life support system in that module, and they keep them pumped full of drugs. Or one type of drug to keep them passive, and then when they want to put them into combat, they pump them full of another type of drug that amps them up aggressively, and then they just, put the head in the body and send them out to fight.
Yeah,
I'm like,
not a very pleasant lifestyle.
No, that's a bit of hell on earth there, in my estimation.
Yeah, it is. Yep. But I would love to see Screwhead come back, though. I really would, because I really like Elle. I think she did a great job. Her and Jesse both did a great job on Screwhead. So we need to, Disney. We need to see Screwhead come back. So we definitely do. So, but yeah, I kind of agree with you, Lee. I don't see her being in the Kansas bar as an entertainer for very long. And it can be a setup for how her and Screwhead kind of make up where they sit at a table and talk or something like that, and maybe kind of smooth some things out. But that would last 5 minutes tops, I think. And in terms of setting up, now I'd like to see Screwhead on Alita's team when she takes on Joshigan. That would be kind of cool, I think.
That's assuming that Screwhead would be up for that, because Screwhead might know enough about Joshigan that she might not be willing to risk the kind of damage she'd end up suffering going up against him. But you never know.
Well, you have to remember too, Joshigan's in the first league, and she was at her level of play in Motorball is like the practice team or something like that on the second league. So it maybe it'd be like putting maybe a little league baseball player up against a major leaguer or something, something like that. So but but I think who knows, maybe Screwhead could do it, because she might have enough intel on Joshigan that maybe it would help,
Yeah, it could be. Or maybe she has connections to people that helps Alita put together the team that goes up against him or something, or whatever they decide to do.
Yeah, but this one ain't gonna last long here, I think. This one right here, I think, would be a major arc. I think the Zerkerpan arc.
Well, if they did like the manga, that would be a major plot thing.
Yeah, and if they were to put the Zerkerpan arc and the Motorball arc in the same movie, this is going to have to be a 3-hour movie, because if they try to do it in 2 hours, there's going to be too much left out, be too many holes in it, So, but yeah, I'd like to see Ed Skrein come back, because he liked playing Zapan, that's for sure, And as you can see down there on that image on the lower left there, Alita and going up against Zapan for the third time. She kicked his butt in the Kansas bar, and she sliced his face off in the street. So he's got in his mind, he's got an axe to grind, for sure,
Yeah.
So, but it'd be interesting to see who would play Sarah. That would be kind of interesting who they would pick. Now, let's see, Sarah in the manga was a brunette, right? If I remember
believe
correctly.
so.
Yeah.
So that would have to be. It could be somebody. I don't know who would be a good one. I guess. Who's the chick that played in the Fantastic Four? I can't remember the old Fantastic Four.
Jessica Alba.
2000s. Yeah, Jessica Alba, she'd be good in that,
Interestingly
I
enough,
think.
Jessica Alba also played in that series that I think it was Cameron did,
Dark Angel.
Angel. So that would be an interesting choice
Yeah.
for a couple of reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. So, here, Zapan kills Sarah because he sees Alita in the motorball match. I mean, because his brain just goes sideways on him. He can't handle it. It's just too much for his mind to handle. He just goes nuts. So, but it'd be kind of interesting to see how they would do this. In that, you remember in the manga. Yeah, I guess you're right. X-Man 577. Jessica Alba does have blue eyes, but they could give her some, tinted contacts or something like that and make her give her brown eyes. That would work, I think. So
they could.
Yeah. But it'd be kind of interesting to see how they would handle Zapan in a berserker body. You remember in the manga, he turns into this gigantic monster looking thing, And I wonder how they would do that, or if they would just give him a normal body, kind of like he's got now, except give him some kind of superpowers, almost like superhero level type stuff, So what do y'all think?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course it'd be neat to see the whole soup kitchen thing, and seeing Zapan really being a productive member of society, something like that. And then all of a sudden he goes nuts. That would be interesting. Where he really cares about what happens in the soup kitchen. He cares for the people in there and all that. And he sees Alita, and his just brain goes sideways. He starts just, just destroying everything in sight, And it would be interesting to see also the interaction between him and Nova, because Nova gives him the berserker body, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, but it's because he didn't really interact with Nova, because it was his butler picked up the brain and put it in the jar and took it to Nova. After
I think what happened,
the pan got eaten up, Barzal, the butler, took the brain, put it in a jar, and carried it over to Dusty Nova.
God, put your brain in a jar. Huh? You got 11 minutes to get it over there, because you're going to be brain dead after that. So, of course, with their level of technology and cyborgs, they could resuscitate you and regenerate your brain. I guess maybe that's what they can do.
Well, Nova did manage to, after the doll incident, or the doll bomb, he does pick up pieces. I mean, just fragments of Alita's brain, and uses that to completely reconstruct her again once he gets to Zalem, or Tefari's in the manga.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Obviously he's got some really whacked out technology that allows him to do that.
Yeah. And if they did that at the end of the, let's say they did that at the end of the sequel, they'd have to do a third movie. If they're going to blow Alita to bits, that's not going to make fans very happy to see their girl get blown to bits. And that's the end of it. End of story.
Well, the second movie could be the Motorball and Zapan arc combined, with her, making her way through the championship, and then also having to deal with, a berserk Zapan in maybe a powerful new body of some form, and then have the third movie be her being in the tuned program or something similar.
Badlands.
And at the end of it, she ends up getting blown to bits, and you're like, okay, well, now there needs to be a fourth movie.
Yes. Because they're not going to be able to stop with her being blown to bits. I think there'd be a revolution on their hands. They have to see Alita come back, and then that's when we'd see her in the Imaginos body, so, or at least I guess Nova puts her in the Imaginos 1.0 body, doesn't he, at that point?
Yep. Rebuilds
Tell you another
her
thing that
whole
was
new
really
body,
another thing that was very disturbing in the manga was the fact that after he blows Alita up and he's kind of walking around, his face is on his stomach.
That's because that's
oh
after
my
she
God,
cut his head off and he's using his backup.
Yeah, that's right. And he's I said, okay, this is a mental image I could do without right here.
Kishiro puts a lot of those into his manga, I'll be honest. He puts a lot of really disturbing
Yeah, he
images
does.
in there.
Yeah, he does. Well, it's kind of like the Mars Chronicles, it's the same thing. How Alita's origin, which
that's a
that was a mental image I could do without. So so anyway. But yeah, I think the Zerkerpan arc's got to be in there. It's got to be. I think that's and you know what? Here's the thing. They did this very thing with Avatar. Avatar 1 was what, 2-hour movie, right?
Actually, I
Look
think
what they did with the
close
sequel.
to 3. It was like a 2-hour, 40-minute movie.
Okay, maybe so. Yeah,
I think it was over the 2.5-hour mark. It was a good while. It lasted a good bit.
Yeah, but anyway, it was short compared to the sequel. They could do this with Alita. A 2-hour Alita was great. I love the movie. As a matter of fact, I might go watch it after the stream. but after that, this sequel, I mean, the way you've got the fans are more attuned to Alita than they were before, because like I've said on several streams, when Alita came out, there was no Alita Army.
Yep.
Now there is, So I think, I know I could sit through a 3-hour Alita movie without any problems. I could do it. And then I'd want to see more. I'd say, why didn't they make it 4 hours? Something like that. That's probably why that'd probably be my take on it, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think we hit that one pretty good. Okay, Motorball, I think we kind of discussed this a little bit, but this is something we got to see in the sequel. We got to see Alita taking on Joshigan, in the novelization, Alita is kind of like when she meets Joshigan in the locker room, she's like a fangirl, she's all over herself because Joshigan's there, and it's like she's
starstruck,
a groupie or something. Yeah, that's right, But she's going to have to get over that if she's going to compete against him. See, so and you kind of got the feeling she was a little starstruck when she was standing in front of Joshigan with Hugo there, looking up at him. Her eyes, were wider than normal when she was looking at him.
That's what Maxie goes over with this story. He has her recalling with sort of, she cringes inwardly a bit as she recalls how she acted like a starstruck teenager when she first met Joshigan. And her next meeting with him, she's a bit more, or she's much more composed.
What if if Zalem lost control of Iron City, what would happen to Zalem?
That's something I've often wondered about. I mean, they would lose a lot of their supply of stuff, because
that's what I was thinking. They would starve to death, actually, because all the food is grown on Earth.
But then you'd have the ever-present risk, unless you repair the sky up in the city, it's going to fall on you.
Yeah, that's right.
It requires regular maintenance to keep staying up there, or else it will rot.
Yeah. Another thing I wondered about too I guess in the Great War of the Fall, how they were going up that supply tube, to get to Zalem.
Well, I explained it as maybe it has the same defensive barrier based on kinetic energy that they do in the manga.
Well, maybe, but I think that that defense ring kind of cut it in half when they were shooting at it, and it kind of, they hit it with those plasma weapons, and that thing cut it. I don't know, it seems to me if you were going to
once it was damaged like that,
had a great.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that you know, if they really wanted to beat Zalem, they wouldn't have to attack it direct like that. They just take down all the supply tubes, and these people would starve to death. You know, and they probably
or they just had the people leave the city. But then again, I think there's urban legends. It's like there's mutants out there. Don't leave the city, or some kind of urban legend that scares people, and most people are just too scared to go. Unless you're, that's right. Unless you know about these mole people like Chaos does, and he's just living with them on their rules.
Well, that's the thing. That was in story. Yeah, that was in the manga, though. In the movie verse, because of the actual war that they had, the interplanetary war, Earth was hit by a nanoplague, a bioplague.
Right. No, a bioplague.
Mars was Mars was hit by the nanoplague. Earth was hit by the bioplague. And that's why so many people came to Iron City, or which was Star City back then, was because the populations were being decimated.
Right. 300 years in the past.
Yeah,
which was saying it's dangerous later, but I'm just saying it's at a point where if people really wanted to go, they could, but most people will believe some kind of urban legend that says,
that's in the present set, but Creek was talking about back when the attack was happening on Zalem.
Yeah, I was talking about during the Great War. Yeah,
the reason for why they would be going up against the why would they be going up the supply tube the way they were. The only thing I could think of is they had some sort of defenses in place that were preventing any other entry point from being viable to get into the city.
Well, the barrier in the manga works is that it works on kinetic energy. When you're hitting it at high impact, it's going to basically destroy you. But if you go through the barrier slowly, you'll make it through.
Yeah, that's what Creek was saying
my point was this, though. Well, no, what I was actually saying is if I'm a military commander and I want to attack that city and I see it's got 8 supply tubes on it, my first thing would be to cut their supplies. I would, take them out, take all their supplies out. That's gonna, that you may not win immediately doing that, but without supplies, eventually they're gonna weaken,
Right. But something like that would imply you have plenty of supplies yourself and plenty of people yourself. And if you're in that kind of operation, which was a crazy last ditch suicide mission, it wouldn't exactly be like that. I mean, a war of attrition basically implies that you have a large amounts of people and you can maintain your kind of, I know you're maybe the invader or defender, whatever, but you have to have some kind of defensive position to move slowly forward and squeeze in on them, and you need a lot of people and a lot of resources to do that because you can't run out of ammo.
But you still got you still got to get by those defense rings, though. I mean, that's kind of what the Berserkers, that squad that was going right there.
But if they're in a situation, they wanted to get in there and take out the important people. They didn't want to wait.
Yeah, it seemed that they were under some sort of time pressure. There was some kind of time element involved that didn't allow them to do an extended siege.
War of attrition,
yeah.
Well, a war of attrition is something else. A siege is simply laying siege to a city and waiting them out, forcing them to starve.
War of attrition is on a national scale. It's a very, very big siege.
Yeah, war of attrition is like two sides field an army, and they just cut each other down. Whoever has the most numbers win.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to the motorball thing.
That's way off
the Alita in the second league. Yeah, we got way off of motorball, but that's all right. It doesn't matter. I'd love to see her competing in the second league. God almighty, it would be great, certainly she's just going to kick butt. I mean, she's not going to have much competition in the second league. It wouldn't be till she got in the Champions League that she would start having some real competition, against like Crimson Wind and Adjicutty and some of them in the movie. Now, in the manga, Adjicutty's actually in the second league, isn't he?
Adjicutty's in Champions level, and he's like this grasshopper guy. He's basically a grasshopper on the track.
Yeah.
And his main little trick he tries to use is he tries is he tries to like slide. You know, he could be low and crouched while he's rolling on all four, or he could be standing up. He can do either one.
But seeing her in the second league and then, you know, winning that, you know, because I happen to think that the second league probably lasts at least 4 months. That's my opinion. I think Maxie thought it was a few weeks, but, you know, to me, I know how NFL football is, and I know how Major League Baseball is, how NHL hockey is, NBA basketball. This takes months to get through the competition to get to a champion, you know.
Well, that's the thing.
And I
In
don't
the
see
movie,
the second.
they said that she cut her way through the competition in a few months. So it was like 3 or 4 months, somewhere in there. Seemed like, anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I think, you know. And then of course after that, then of course she can compete in the first league. And but seeing her compete in the second league, that would be really sweet, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Seeing how she would just make hay out of these second league, you know, small fries.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be kind of cool. And then see her go up against Joshigan, against some of the first leaguers, you know, where she has more of a challenge, you know. That'd be kind of cool, you know, I think. Because I know it, you know, Chaos mentioned this a while ago. In you know, in Rollerball, they actually had 3 games in that movie, and that movie was an hour and 40 minutes, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, there were three matches that you saw.
Yeah, that's right. The first match was against Madrid. The second, this was Houston, was the team. First match was against Madrid. The second one was against Tokyo, and the third one was against New York. You know, so of course that third one wasn't really a match. It was more of a you know, it's more of a just who's going to kill the most people in the event, I guess, you know. But you know, it'd be so cool to see her first of all compete in the second league and how easy it is, and then she gets in the Champions League and it's a lot tougher. You know, it'd be kind of nice to see how she handles that stuff. You know.
Yep.
It'd also be nice to see some of the slice of life stuff that would be going on when she's not playing motorball. You know, it'd be kind of nice to see that. Once again, her just being a single girl, you know, that'd be kind of neat, I think.
Yep.
Anything else on that one, guys?
Are we going to have the crazy doctor kidnapping? I guess we haven't introduced Shamira, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Shamira, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd love to see Shamira. You know, that's you. Of course, everybody on this stream knows Joshigan's sister. You know, from the manga, you know, she looks kind of cute. Eventually she marries a guy and has 9 kids or something like that. Chaos or Lee.
Koyami said 8 when Koyami was
8 kids.
13.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, but Shamira, you know, it'd be neat to see some of them get somebody to play her, who they would get. You know, there's certainly a lot of, you know, good-looking actresses they could pick for her. You know, it'd also be neat to see Shamira, you know, how she does with Ito. You know, because I think Joshigan wants Ito to marry Shamira. And Ito says, what? You know,
well, because he knows that he's going to die, basically, and he wants someone there to take care of his sister, and he trusts Ito as being a good enough man to do it.
Yeah. And I think Ito's response was, well, you know, she's too big an age difference here, for one thing.
He wasn't.
And his other reaction was, yeah, you know, yeah, you can't be serious type thing. That's what I think where he was coming from, you know. So, and it would be interesting to see how they handle Joshigan, if they would do it like they did in the manga, where he has got that terminal condition there, but he's trying to, you know, beat the clock and try to win the final champion before he actually dies, you know. That would be interesting too, with Alita competing against him all at the same time, you know. Anything else, you guys, on this one?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm gonna have to go here soon. It's almost 6.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up pretty quick here. And then, of course, the Badlands arc. This is not something that's going to be long in the sequel. I think they might introduce the Badlands arc. You know, maybe the scene where she's on the train, you know, meeting Figure 4. You know, they could do something like that. They might even get to the point where they meet Chaos, where she meets him.
I mean,
that's sometime.
I think they might tease him, but not show him in full.
Yeah, I think so, because she doesn't meet Chaos until sometime after she, you know, kind of is gone for Figure 4, I think. But I think with Figure 4, I think that's going to be more. I want Jason Momoa to play Figure 4 because I think he's perfect. If he shaves his
he's
beard
got the build
off,
for
I
it,
think he'd
certainly.
be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I actually realized
too.
I was watching Stargate Atlantis and not realized that's also Jason Momoa in that show.
Hmm.
Oh, really?
I thought it was him. I didn't.
Stargate, that is Jason Momoa.
Okay. Well, I've got to get going,
I
so
gotta
I'm going to
check
go
that
ahead
out.
and talk to you guys later.
Well, I was just watching it with my wife.
Right.
We finished like SG1 and we were going to see the spin-off Atlantis. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, that is Jason Momoa in that show.
Wow. All right, Lee, we'll catch you later, man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. You guys have fun.
All right,
Bye.
man. Bye.
Goodbye.
So anyway, yeah, I think the Badlands arc is just going to be the beginning. I don't think it's going to be, you're not going to get too deep into Badlands arc. We might see the point where she's on the train, and of course, Figure 4 sees her and is like, "Ooh, she's cute," you know, goes up to her and she puts her finger in his forehead and says, "Don't get too close to me. People end up dying that do," you know.
Yeah.
And then they can show the train going off in the, you know, or they could use the Viz translation. Either one would be fine, you know. So,
right.
You know, with
I'm going to enjoy when I
hey,
use the modified game English translation and get to places that I've already played. So now everyone can understand what I'm playing.
Well, I'm gonna be watching for that too, Chaos, because it was fun. It's fun watching you. Fun watching you play the Japanese version, but it's sometimes hard to figure out what's going on. You know?
Yeah,
So,
it's hard. It's
it's
the same thing when I'm going to play the Fist of the North Star video game I have, because that's also Japanese only.
Yeah. So anyway, we won't see too much of the Badlands arc in the sequel. I think we'll see the very beginning of it, and that'll be it. You know, we won't. They will. If it was more than 5 minutes, I'd be surprised. You know.
My thing is that would they even have Den if they framed Destinova and his family differently, or is it just hunting after the fugitive kids? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, we certainly won't see Den before the third movie. I think. I mean, we might see him in the third movie. You know, but well, they could do the third movie. Could be the Badlands arc. So yeah, we'd see him. We'd see him and the Barjack and all that shit. You know, we'd see that in the third movie, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're almost coming up on 2 hours, and I don't think we'll see very much of the Badlands arc at all. You know, that's going to be reserved for the third movie, I think.
00 and 99 agreeing to work together. Who knows? Who knows, Lost Link? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I think she's going to be competing against Double Ought, you know, myself. But, you know, yeah, who knows? Could be.
So,
any
my
other?
Thought was later on we could do like voice samples, and some of us could do our voices to like do AI character voices from Gundam. I'll make sure I have that topic on the sign-up list.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I did the whole Destinova thing using like Christopher Lee and Graham McTavish voices, and it's pretty interesting.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that one. When do you want to do this AI voice sampling, or you want?
I would say
WAV file or MP3.
I say like July or something, because it uses 11 labs to make
Okay.
the character voices, and I need to sample. With 11 labs, you have to sample audio.
Well, what I could do is I could put an MP3 file or a WAV file and send it to you in a DM, and you could kind of mess
That could
with
work.
it,
That could work.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know too many more topics here, but just to fill out this, what you got coming up, Chaos, on your channel?
Okay, I'm gonna keep doing the showcases every Friday before this podcast, and I'm going to alternate between sometimes doing the pre-recorded English translation of Martian Memory and sometimes doing the live stream, depending on my time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put your two.
And I made the Fallen Angel fan trailer about the volume 7 through 9, so this should be interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll put those in the chat so people can.
Yeah, I'll talk.
Okay, there they are. There's
messages.
There's that one.
I'll send you my email in the private chat so you can just send something right there, like sound bites that way.
Okay, we can do something like that. Okay, so anyway, I can't think of anything else here, so I guess we can kind of move on. I guess I don't guess we missed anything.
Oh, I guess the other
Except
thing is
to
I
say-
did the whole I did the Excalibur presentation video, and just to let anyone who's listening here know, I could help you do a longer presentation video. Like I could give you video footage, pictures, and so on. Just ask me.
Okay.
And we'll just put the Chaos Nova 1 email at gmail.com in the on display so that they can see it in case they want to
Okay.
ask you for help.
That's pretty easy handle, remember? Chaos Nova 1 at Gmail.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I guess the only thing left here is that Alita loves her Uncle Creek. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, because we all want that sequel. That's why she loves all of us, actually, because she knows we're trying to help her get that sequel. So, this is our queen right here. This is Rosa is #1 in the Creeks book. She's a great actress, in my opinion. And I think she wants to play Alita, and she's good at playing Alita. And I'll tell you, it sure, as I say every week, it don't hurt that she's pretty. And the same goes for our other two girls here, Elle Lamont and Jessie Fisher. They did a great job on Screwhead. And of course, I hope I don't embarrass any of these three, but all three of these ladies are really pretty in the Creeks book. So, we'll leave it at that.
And I'll just mention, hey, now is the time to do fan stuff because you want to do it before they actually announce a sequel is coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely want to do fan stuff, do as much as you can. If, learn how to put together a video. Or if you're an artist, draw a picture of Alita or some other character in the movie Alita Battle Angel. If you're a musician, and you write, heck, do a song about Alita Battle Angel. I mean, we have one done by.
I'll get a link to my tutorial video because it shows how to do visualizer effects with a couple different video editor programs. Just 1 minute tutorial video. So if you played one and you recorded it, you could visualize it.
Okay. You're going to put that under private chat?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So anyway, we want all three of these ladies to come back. That's for sure. We want them in that sequel. So, and I think they all deserve to be in the sequel, and they'll do a great job in the sequel. Be so neat to see Screwhead and Alita kind of make up, and become pals or buddies. It's like Elle said in that interview, it'd be kind of cool to see Alita have a badass buddy like Screwhead backing her up. That'd be pretty neat, I think. Okay, I'm waiting for that private chat there, Chaos, when you get ready for it.
All right, I've got it. I'll type it.
Okay. Well, tomorrow, kind of similar to what we did today, except we're not going to talk about specific plots tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
There it is.
Oh, there's the chat. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So if you want to learn or you want to, get some tips, get some direction on how to do fan stuff for Alita Battle Angel, there it is right there. And right there in the chat. So just click on that. It goes to Chaos's channel, and there you have it. You'll get some good tips there. Lost Link says, yeah, we got 2 angels there in the sequel. Actually, we got 3 angels. Okay. So we got Rosa, Elle, and Jesse. They're all great. All of them did a great job on their respective characters. I'll tell you, Jesse is one badass stunt woman. And I meant to ask Lottie when he was on, she did one of those, she did some kind of Cirque du Soleil type stuff, or a handstand she did in a Berserker kind of, cosplay looking thing. And I need to get that from Lottie. I'd sure love to get it. So, but as we say tomorrow, Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, we definitely want to see Jennifer Connelly. Sharon is not dead. Remember, she was alive. She was basically a brain, but she was still alive. She could come back as a total replacement cyborg, for sure.
There's something.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to talk about Radio Chaos tomorrow. Say again, Chaos.
Just so you know, I might have the brain in an incubator.
Maybe, could be, or some preservation chamber of some kind. Yeah, for sure.
I just get the
but anyway,
that Sharon replaces Lou in some way. And sort of finding a brain to bring her back, maybe. I don't know.
No. I kind of like Lou the way Lou is. I want Sharon to come back, but I want got to get somebody else for Lou. I think. Of course, we're not going to see Lou until we get into the 3rd movie. But okay, tomorrow Radio Chaos, we're going to talk about hey. Are we close to getting a green light, for Alita? When are we going to get it? We know Cameron, Rodriguez, and Rosa and Landau, they all want this movie. They're all working for this movie. And I think Disney may be more predisposed to it now than they were, say, a couple of years ago. So we'll talk about that. Now, we're probably not going to talk about too much about plots tomorrow like we did today, but we're definitely going to talk about, the conditions that might help us get a sequel and what's changed over the past 2 or 3 years that's going to help us. And of course, one of those is going to be Avatar: Way of Water. Certainly has made it more, feasible now that we're going to get an Alita sequel. So, okay, any last thoughts there, Chaos?
No, I think that wraps it up.
Cool. Okay, why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it and I'm running the stream. And to paraphrase Gawishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl. And I don't know if just Chaos and I, we won't yell the call to action, but I will say this. We're going to film those sequels, baby. That's what we're going to do. So, Alita Army, keep your fingers crossed. And as they say in Pirates of the Caribbean, keep a weather eye out. So we're going to see that sequel, and we will catch you next week on the Alita Livestream, and we'll catch you tomorrow on Radio Chaos. Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.